Hello friends and welcome. Today we are going to discuss about continuing education including journal education through open learning system and technical education. The main objectives of our today's lecture are to familiarize the learners with the concept of continuing education, to enable the students to understand the importance of open learning system, to familiarize the learners with the characteristics of open learning system, to familiarize the learners with the concept of journal education, to impart knowledge about the role of open learning system in imparting journal education, to make the students familiar with the concept of technical education, and to gain understanding about the contribution of open learning system in the field of technical education. To begin with, let me give you a brief introduction. Learning is not just limited to reading, writing and arithmetic. Learning is about improving one's knowledge, skills and attitudes to make the life easier, fuller, longer and more enjoyable. Learning then has a practical purpose. It can help us to cope with the changing world socially, economically, culturally, physically and spiritually. Learning provides us with practical tools to improve the quality of life or to change it. People are generally more aware now of the power and significance of education as a tool for improving life. They also know that education is no longer just something for children. Our efforts to educate ourselves should not stop after the completion of schooling. We should continue these efforts throughout our lives. Now, what is continuing education? Education is a lifelong and continuing activity. Continuing education is any extension of opportunities for reading, study and training to young persons and adults, following their completion of or withdrawal from full-time school or college. Continuing education gives us opportunities to engage in lifelong learning. When we engage in lifelong learning, we are learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. Many people consider that learning is just for gaining knowledge, but the scope of learning is much broader than this. Continuing and lifelong education has become important parts of adult education programs. Continuing education can boost confidence and lead to opportunities for career advancement. Continuing education is also known as further education, adult education, permanent education, recurrent education, or lifelong education. Continuing education is an important way to update knowledge and skills. It enables learners to maintain competence, become aware of recent developments. It is concerned primarily with broad personal and professional development. Education is a continuous and lifelong process. It does not end with schooling. Continuing education is the phenomenon of ever learning. It does not stop at any particular stage. It is a call for not cease to learn. Continuing education is a necessity of modern times. It helps in leading a better life. There can be no terminal point in education. Education to be complete must continue forever. Now, categories of people needing continuing education. There are primarily three categories of persons needing continuing education. Those who have discontinued education without completing, employed professionals for improving their qualifications and abilities, all adults. The National Policy on Education 1986 says lifelong education is a cherished goal of the educational process. This presupposes universal literacy. Opportunities will be provided to the youth, housewives, agricultural and industrial workers and professionals to continue the education of their choice at the pace suited to them. The future thrust will be in the direction of open and distance learning. Continuing education may be effectively imparted through distance or open or correspondence education. The terms open learning and distance education represent approaches that focus on opening access to education and training provision, freeing learners from the constraints of time and place and offering flexible learning opportunities to individuals and group of learners. Now, let us discuss about open learning system and its importance. The term open learning has been used to refer to the process of making learning available to the learners no matter who they are or where or when they wish to study. The term open has been taken to imply open access for students regardless of their previous qualifications or age. Open learning is an umbrella term for any scheme of education or training that seeks systematically to remove barriers to learning, whether they are concerned with age, time, place, or space. With open learning, individuals take responsibility for what they learn, how they learn, where they learn, how quickly they learn, who helps them, and when they have their learning assessed. The term open generally refers to four aspects: people where it would not debar applicants on account of their lack of educational qualifications; place in the sense that learning would be home-based and not restricted to classrooms or a campus; the use of new methods of teaching and ideas. Open learning system is an important way to journal and technical education. It provides opportunities for continuing and developmental education to the interested learners through courses and programs of journal education, life enrichment modules, vocational courses, skill updation of in-service personnel, and for quality education of relevance to learners located at educationally advantageous locations. Thus, open learning system generally includes activities that either enhance learning opportunities within formal education systems or broaden learning opportunities beyond formal education systems. Open learning system is one in which the restriction placed on students are removed. It is very convenient way for people to continue their education despite their busy lives and tight schedules. Wider diversification of education is the logical battle cry of the present technological age. Open learning, a veritable bonanza of education, has espoused the cause of promoting diversified education in community with their emerging needs throughout life from cradle to grave. By and large, the main emphasis of formal institutions has been on knowledge as an end. The open learning pattern has accepted the laudable position of both knowledge for itself as well as knowledge as a means to other ends. Learning as a process of acquiring knowledge or skill when prefixed with open becomes characterized as a learning process that is not enclosed or encumbered by barriers. It is accessible and available and not confined or concealed. It has no rigid formalities and has flexibility regarding entry and exit points. Open learning is a learner-centered process and is life-oriented. Instruction by teachers is minimal in this system. However, an open learning is not browsing at random, but learning with an objective. It is based on the principle of maximization of human potentials. Over the past decades, there has been a noticeable growth in distance or open education around the world. This is very much evident from the increasing enrollment in open distance learning institutions. Open learning is a system of learning guided by the philosophy of freedom to learn without the constraints that are characteristics of traditional system of education. Distance education, on the other hand, is a mode of education, a methodology adopted to make open learning possible. In materializing the concept of open learning by means of the distance mode of education, we enter a field of operation that has come to called open and distance learning. Open distance learning is that mode of education which frees the student from the necessity of travelling to a fixed place at a fixed time to meet a fixed person in order to be educated or trained. Thus, in system of education, learners have freedom to learn at their own pace, place and time. Its philosophy is to remove barriers to education and allow learners to study according to their pace, time and place. Open distance learning institutions are not only imparting education as an alternative to the formal system, that is education in conventional courses, programs, but also in areas such as vocational and technical education, continuing education, teacher education, etc. Now, characteristics of open learning system. First, openness regarding admission. The usual eligibility conditions as are applicable to the conventional system of education regarding admissions are flexible in case of open learning system. Open learning system is flexible with regard to qualifications for entry, age limit and time schedule, etc. It is intended for all ages and sections of society. It is programmed to serve the needs of identified group of different categories, if and when they need, if and when they want. Second, openness regarding teaching media. Several media of teaching are available in the open system: correspondence, text, radio, television, audio, video, cassettes, and other electronic devices are used as media in the open system. There may be provision for occasional personal contact or impersonal contact between the students and teachers. All these together constitute the teaching techniques of the open system. Third, openness regarding space and time. The open learning system does not insist on personal attendance at a particular place or classroom. Wherever there is provision or facility for personal contact, it is reduced to the minimum and is often not obligatory. In certain professional courses, attendance of contact program is made compulsory. The venue of contact can be shifted to suit the convenience of the students. Course duration is also flexible. The rigidities relating to the conventional system are relaxed to enable the students to proceed at their own pace. Next, openness regarding course content. The way of organizing the courses and course content in open learning is flexible. A learner is free to choose the courses he likes and finds useful to him. In the conventional system, the courses are often fixed and the learner has to take all combinations offered by the institutions. Now, goals of open learning system. The open education system aims at achieving the following goals. First, more emphasis on learning than on teaching. Next, promoting self-directed learning, that is a process in which individuals take the initiative without the help of others in diagnosing their learning needs, formulating goals, identifying human and material resources, and evaluating learning outcomes. Optimum efforts to expand the freedom of learning. Next, encouraging individualized work pattern. Next, flexibility for learners regarding the traditional academic admission requirements, time and selection of courses on the basis of learners' need, motivation, maturity and experience, and not on the basis of previous education or certification. The flexibility and innovativeness of the open learning system are particularly suited to the diverse requirements of the pluralist clientele. It offers facilities for continuing and lifelong education. It thus broadens the access to education, including both general as well as technical education. The non-formal systems are operating at elementary and secondary stages as open schools and at tertiary stage as open universities. Therefore, open learning system should be given the utmost encouragement. Now, concept of general education. General education has been defined as a curriculum or part of curriculum aimed at imparting general knowledge and developing general intellectual capacities, in contrast to a professional, vocational or technical curriculum. It is characterized by its focus on the whole development of an individual apart from his occupational training. It includes the civilizing of his life purposes, the refining of his emotional reactions, and maturing of his understanding of the nature of things according to the best of our time. General education courses help the students to acquire skills beneficial at all levels of learning and introduce students to the fundamental ideas in the arts, humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences. They challenge students to assess information critically, frame and deliver reasoned and persuasive arguments orally and in writing, and identify, acquire, and use the knowledge necessary to solve problems. Courses in the general education offers diverse perspectives on how to solve problems, express ideas, and create and discover new knowledge. General education provides a foundation for future learning. Now let us discuss about the role of open learning system in general education. Open learning system plays a crucial role in imparting journal education through various means like printed study materials, radio and television programs, online support and personal contact classes through study centers. Open learning serves as a source of education for school dropouts, the marginalized and disadvantaged sectors of the society, residents of rural areas and remote regions, etc. Open schooling is also preferred by students pursuing careers which require them to devote much time than what the stringent formal school systems with its time-bound structure and attendance compulsions can permit. Students who wish to choose specific combinations of subjects which may not be possible under the formal system also turn to open schools. The system also contributes to the cause of adult literacy. The advent of open schooling in India was through the CBSE initiated Open School project in 1979. A decade later, in the year 1989, the Ministry of Human Resource Development set up an autonomous organization that took charge of the project, and the new institution was named National Open School. The National Open School or the National Institute of Open Schooling is an important initiative of the Government of India created to cater to the educational needs of students who cannot attend regular schools. Its objective is to offer a parallel non-formal system of education as an alternative to formal schooling. The National Institute of Open Schooling, formerly known as National Open School, was established in November 1989 as an autonomous organization in pursuance of National Policy on Education 1986 by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. National Institute of Open Schooling is providing a number of vocational, life enrichment and community-oriented courses besides journal and academic courses at secondary and senior secondary level. It also offers elementary level courses through its open basic education programs. In July 2002, the Ministry of Human Resource Development amended the nomenclature of organization from National Open School to the National Institute of Open Schooling with a mission to provide relevant continuing education at school stage up to pre-degree level through open learning system to prioritized client groups as an alternative to formal system. It is an institution set up to bring the flexibility and openness in the educational system and to extend educational opportunities to the weaker and disadvantaged sections of the society. The National Institute of Open Schooling provides opportunities to the interested learners by making available the following courses, programs of study through open and distance learning mode. Open Basic education programs for 14 plus years age group adolescents and adult at A, B and C levels that are equivalent to classes 3rd, 5th and 8th of the formal school system. Next, secondary education course, senior secondary education course and vocational education courses programs. Now let us discuss about the concept of technical education. India is witnessing the age of science and technology. There is huge demand for technical education in modern age. Technical education imparts knowledge of specific trade, craft or profession. Technical education offers good opportunity for employment and successful career. Technical education, that is education in some art or craft, is the crying need of the hour. Technical education plays a vital role in human resource development of the country by creating skilled manpower, enhancing industrial productivity, and improving the quality of life of its people. Technical education in India contributes a major share to the overall education system and plays a vital role in the social and economic development of our nation. In India, technical education is imparted at various levels such as craftsmanship, diploma, degree, postgraduate and research in specialized fields, catering to various aspects of technological development and economic progress. Technical education covers programs in engineering, technology, management, architecture, town planning, pharmacy, applied arts and crafts, hotel managements and catering technology, etc. Career and technical education is a term applied to schools, institutions, and educational programs that specialize in the skilled trades, applied sciences, modern technologies, and career preparation. It was formerly and is still commonly called as vocational education. Contribution of open learning system in the field of technical education. Our formal education system cannot provide desired number of skilled workers. In such situation, the best alternative is open and distance learning system that can tackle such problems. Here, open and distance learning system can play an important role by providing flexible and cost-effective education to improve skills. It is difficult for formal educational systems alone to respond to the societal challenges and therefore needs reinforcement by non-formal educational practices. Open distance learning institutions are not only imparting education as an alternative to the formal system, that is education in conventional courses, programs, but also in areas such as vocational and technical education, continuing education, teacher education, etc. Open and distance learning system has also made significant contribution in vocational and technical education. Distance education can be used extensively to provide education that can prepare skilled workforce for the world to do productive work. Open learning system plays an important role in disseminating skills to the population that do not have the opportunity to further their education due to several reasons. The distance education also has potential to reach the unreached and even marginalized and excluded groups. It can provide vocational and technical education and engage them in income-generating livelihood. In this globalized world, it is well-known fact that skill training enhances productivity and sustains competitiveness in the global economy. Skills and knowledge are the engines of economic growth and social development of any country. Countries with higher and better levels of knowledge and skills respond more effectively and promptly to the challenges and opportunities of globalization. To achieve this goal, India needs flexible education and training system. Open learning system is contributing a lot to fulfill this goal. Keeping this in mind, Indira Gandhi National Open University and many such institutions are offering programs which are included in the category of vocational and technical education and continuing education for improving the skills of adult learners. The Government of India has always considered skill development as a national priority. Various schemes have been launched in this direction. One such scheme is Jan Shikshan Sansthan, formerly known as Shramik Vidyapeeth, one of the popular schemes in non-formal education sector crafted by the Government of India. The Jan Shikshan Sansthan is an innovative educational scheme in the field of non-formal and continuing education and training for adults started by the Government of India. This scheme was initially launched in 1967 as Shramik Vidyapeeth, a polyvalent or multifaceted adult education institution aimed at improving the vocational skills and quality of life of the industrial workers. The Jan Shikshan Sansthans are unique also because they offer quality vocational skills and technical knowledge at a very low cost. Their doors are open to everyone and they reach out to their clientele groups by setting up sub-centers in the heart of the slum or in remote rural areas. They are different from other vocational training institutions as they offer vocational training and skill development programs for the neo-literates and other target groups of the continuing education program at a very low cost, provide need-based and literacy-linked vocational training in most courses without insisting on age limit or prior educational qualifications, reach out to the clientele in their areas unlike other institutions which the clientele has to access whether near or far, offer a multifaceted skill knowledge, awareness enhancement and outlook formation trainings and inputs and empowerment oriented interventions in respect of social, economic and health status improvement of women and adolescent girls. Thus, Jan Shikshan Sansthans are non-formal vocational educational institutions for non-literate, neo-literate and also for school dropouts. By linking literacy with vocational training, Jan Shikshan Sansthans seeks to improve the quality of life of the beneficiaries. In the beginning, these institutions were organizing vocational training and skill upgradation programs mostly for workers in the urban area. But after the introduction of National Literacy Mission in 1988, almost the entire country has been covered by literacy campaigns, and now Jan Shikshan Sansthans are being set up in different districts in the country to consolidate the gains of the literacy campaigns and improve the quality of life through vocational training. In the specific context of technical education, open learning could be interpreted as an approach to promote students' autonomy and learning priorities. With this, I conclude my today's lecture. Hope you have understood and enjoyed. Thank you.